game, and Rassie is one of our cheerleaders that we need to support as he pushes back from time to time on what's happening within the game. Maybe Rassie needs us to step up as United Rugby fans and make a louder voice to some of the things that he's saying as well. So let's consider that as we go into 2026. Well, just over my shoulder, if you fly for 1 hour, you'll get to the United States and Mexico border. That's right. And in 2031, that's a place that Rassie Erasmus is going to be coming for the Rugby World Cup. Yes, Rassie has locked in his contract through until 2031, and that's a good thing, I think, for the game of rugby across the world. Now, let's go and sit in my favourite park and talk about it in terms of Rassie's contract extension, what it means to rugby across the world, and also how's he compare to other coaches coaching their international teams so far this year. G'day everyone, welcome to Inside Rugby with Mark. If you haven't been here before, my name is Mark. I'm a Kiwi rugby fan living here in beautiful Cancun in Mexico. Now, if you are a subscriber to the channel or you're watching this particular video, then you are eligible to get free membership at United Rugby Fans. Yes, we've set up a global not-for-profit organisation, and the aim of that organisation is to give you, the 500 million rugby fans of the world, a louder voice in the game so that we can go and sit down at the decision-making table, so we can give our views and opinions about the World Cup draw, about where World Cups are going to be staged, about the development in the women's game, about the investment going into youth rugby across the world, about the officiating in the game. You're getting the theme here. Yes, we want to have a bigger voice in the game. United Rugby Fans is your platform. So all you've got to do to get your free membership is to send me an email to the email address on the screen now and tell me what country you are in. We will then hook you up with your local chapter leader, and we'll change the game of rugby together across the world. Okay, let's go and talk about Rassie and see what's up with him. Now, if you're like me and you're a big cricket fan as well, you'll remember back perhaps to the days of the all-conquering West Indies cricket team, the boys just over the ocean there a couple of hours. Well, they were back-to-back World Cup champions as well, just like South Africa. Yes, they won the tournament in their dominant period of cricket, and they had legendary names in that team, didn't they? All the likes of Clive Lloyd, Sir Vivian Richards, Desmond Haynes, Gordon Greenidge, Joel Garner, Michael Holding, the list goes on. It was just an absolutely fantastic period for West Indian cricket. But the thing here is, if I ask you who was their coach during that period of their dominance, would you be able to give me the answer? Well, I'll let you know who it was later on in the video. But for now, if I said to you, who's the coach of the South African dominant World Cup back-to-back rugby team, everybody in the world would be able to say Rassie Erasmus. And that's the difference there, is that the coach makes the difference and is making the difference to this team. So why do I think it's good news that Rassie has signed his contract, and what does it matter to me? Well, I'm a rugby fan first and foremost, as you know if you've been watching my channel for a long time, and I love the way that South Africa is playing rugby at the moment. I love the depth of talent they've got from Rassie to choose from, and just like back in the West Indies days when they were conquering the cricket fields of the world, they had an abundance of talent as well. But the difference here is that Rassie and his coaching squad have been able to use innovation, tactical and strategic presence over their opposition and come out on top most of the time, not all of the time, of course. So yes, that's absolutely true. And of course, in our great game, what really matters to everyone at the top is that Rugby World Cup trophy, the Webb Ellis trophy. And if you've got that on your mantelpiece, then you've done something well. And that's what really sets Rassie apart, isn't it, in terms of the success that that South African team has had since he's been coaching them. So no doubt about it, Rassie, of course, back-to-back Rugby World Cup winner as a coach. But besides that, he's not the most successful coach currently statistically. No, that goes to Andy Farrell, who has a 78.5% win record with that Irish team. But I can hear all the South African fans saying, yeah, but they haven't won a Rugby World Cup and blah, blah, blah. Yes, that's true. Absolutely no doubt about it. So Andy Farrell's at 78.5. We've got then Rassie at 75.4% win record. And surprisingly, we've got Razor Robertson next at 74%. Fabian Gaultier's at 73%. And then it's down to Steve Borthwick, who's got a 54% win record with England as their coach, and then Felipe Contaponi with a 46% win record with Los Pumas. I'm suspecting that Steve Borthwick's percentage is going to increase over the next 12 months or so. So there's no doubt about it that Rassie is leading the way at the moment. I don't think anybody could argue that fact. He's got a brilliant team of people that he's brought together, including Felix Jones and Tony Brown, of course. And collectively, along with Rassie's strategic brilliance, they've been able to turn that South African team into a very, very good team. So in 2025, it's been a fantastic performance by the Springboks and by Rassie, of course. They've had 2 losses this year. The first one to the Wallabies at Ellis Park in Johannesburg in that incredible game of rugby in the second half. And then the second loss was against the All Blacks, of course, at Eden Park. And we won't forget what happened the weekend after that game, will we? So, of course, next year we're going to see a lot of Rassie in terms of the All Black side of things, because the All Blacks are going to go to South Africa and play the greatest rivalry tour. That's going to be fantastic. And then we've got the Nations Championship happening next year as well, which I'm pretty sure the 2 teams are going to match up against each other during that. So it's going to be another year of benchmarking where the Springboks team is at, particularly because it's before the Rugby World Cup. All the other teams are going to have to get their ducks in a row if they're going to see if they can compete with the Springboks team in the Rugby World Cup in 2027. And something tells me it's going to be a pretty tough ask, but nothing is impossible. And just like that West Indies dominant cricket team were able to go on for 15 years and basically rule world cricket, and then came along the Aussies that were able to take them down. So who's going to take the Springboks down? How long is it going to take? Is Rassie going to continue the streak all the way through to 2031? Well, I wouldn't be surprised at all if that happens. Now, why do I like Rassie so much? Well, first of all, I think it's the way that he's a rugby man. He really gets into it. Of course, he played the game for South Africa as a player. He's come into the coaching fraternity and he's turned things upside down a little bit. He started to push the envelope, of course, introducing innovation to the game. We've got the bomb squad now, of course, and we've seen the hybrid play, and we've seen different tactics used off the bench at different times of the game. Remember that game where we saw Gerhard Steenkamp, Wilco Low coming on this year against Ireland just before half time? That was something that Rassie did that was really strategic and important at the time. Started to push the Irish scrum around, have all that dominance. And I thought that was just a little piece of genius that we don't always see from other coaches. So that's for me why Rassie is really leading it. And yeah, sometimes there's mistakes made, but I can't remember the last time Rassie made a mistake. So something else I really like about Rassie is the way that he experiments with his team. He puts young players in there and gives them the opportunity. We saw the likes of Sasha Feinberg and Gomo Zulu, who's already played 19 test matches for the South African Springboks. He got that opportunity in Wellington against the All Blacks. But do we see this kind of creativity from some of the other coaches putting their younger players in these top games and giving them that experience and the opportunity to shine? And that's what I really like about Rassie indeed. We saw Zachary Porton, of course, coming in as a 20-year-old prop for the Springboks this year. And we've seen the development of the likes of Morné Vandenberg and others in the Springbok team. And I think this is one of Rassie's strengths. He's able to combine experience with youth, and he's able to change that team around. And at the back end of this season, we've seen a team start to emerge now that I think Rassie is going to call his go-to team, the team that really starts and lights up the pitch. We've seen Grant Williams and Manie Libbok starting to get that bench position. And is that going to be the case, or is Cobus Reinhardt going to continue starting at number 9? And I wouldn't argue against that, because the performances that Cobus has put in this year have been outstanding. So I think this is one of Rassie's many strengths in terms of the way that he's able to use players, see the opportunity for development, and then put in the experienced guys. And I think we're starting to see the transition, aren't we, of those more experienced Springboks that have had a lot of caps and maybe not quite be there at the top when it comes Rugby World Cup 2026. Now, I for one can't wait to see how this team evolves in 2026 under Rassie, and how they arrive in Australia in October of 2027 ahead of that Rugby World Cup to take on the opportunity to do a three-peat. That's going to be one of the really interesting things for us to all watch out for in 2026. But for me, it's great news to have Rassie re-signed and locked in until 2031. He challenges the status quo in World Rugby, and to a much smaller level. That's what we're doing at United Rugby Fans as well, because we want the type of game that Rassie wants. We want the type of game that shows the opportunity for the best players and the best teams without being crushed by rule changes and law changes and all the other things that are happening to try and suppress them. We, the fans, want to see the best games by the best teams with the best players on the field, and that's all that Rassie wants as well for this great game. So I'm on Team Rassie as well, because I think that's exactly what we need in the world of rugby. We need to push back sometimes. We need to say it's not good enough. Whether you're a coach of the World Cup winning team, whether you're a fan sitting in South Africa, New Zealand, Ireland or Georgia, it doesn't matter. We need to have a voice. We need to be able to say what we feel about the game, what we want in the game. And Rassie is one of our cheerleaders that we need to support as he pushes back from time to time on what's happening within the game. Maybe Rassie needs us to step up as United Rugby Fans and make a louder voice to some of the things that he's saying as well. So let's consider that as we go into 2026. So there we go. As the sun comes up behind me in beautiful Cancun this morning, those are my thoughts around Rassie and his appointment through until 2031, when the Rugby World Cup is just going to be up the road from me. And now it's time to get back to that West Indies coach. Do you know who it was? Have you got a name for me? Who was the coach of that dominant West Indies team throughout that period from 1975 through to the early 1990s? Well, the answer is they didn't have a coach. That's right. They were coached more or less on the field by captains Clive Lloyd and also Sir Vivian Richards. And it wasn't until 1992 when Rohan Kanea came in as the first coach of the West Indies team, of the West Indies cricket team, that they actually had a coach. So there you go, there's a little bit of trivia this morning in this particular video. Hey, now then, what's coming up this week on the channel? Well, I'm going to be doing my in-depth end of year reviews. I know I've promised it for a little while, but it is coming. We're going to talk about South Africa this year and what I think of that team. We're going to talk about Australia, England, France and Argentina. So that's what you can look forward to this week coming up on Inside Rugby with Mark. And I'll give you my in-depth review on how I thought those teams went. You might be a little bit surprised. I've changed my tune on a couple of those teams, so make sure you come back and check out all of those videos. Thanks very much for watching. I really appreciate it. Don't forget to sign up to United Rugby Fans. We want to change the world of rugby. We want to put the power back in your hands, the 500 million rugby fans across the world. So help us out, do that. Okay, I'll see you all again soon. Until next time, keep safe, keep watching your rugby across the world, and it's time to say adios from beautiful Cancun in Mexico. Bye for now, everyone.